I'm going to show you how to make a data set in SPSS. I'm sorry that my screen recording software doesn't go all the way up to the corners. But basically, I just have a file folder open and I'm going to ask it to create a new data file. The syntax will be the code that you use to run your outputs, and then the output is the thing that we saw with graphs and the actual numbers once you run your tests. So if we hit new data, we can enter it from scratch. And basically, you've just got your variable view and your data view. Um, you will need to say this is the person's first name. What type of uh, content is this? String just means that it's typed in like numerical data, or you can do like letters if it's like Sarah's your first name. The width, these are just how much space do you want to give yourself, so maybe like 15 would be good. That just shows you how big the line is. And then over here you've got your measure. You can either do ordinal or nominal data for this because it's string. Um, so we're going to be entering this. This will be nominal data because that's a name. Um, Maybe we would do an interval scale of how happy you are with, um, how about like satisfaction of um, this week. And then you could give it a label over here. How happy are you with how well this week is going? And then you've got to give it some values. We talked about ratio data and interval data and how you have to assign a number to each possible answer. So if we're working with a Likert scale right here, we could give it a value of 1 for completely disliked this week. Add that to our scale. Disliked 3. Neutral week 4. Liked this week. And then 5. Completely liked this week. And then you add this and then you hit OK. And then you can come back. This gave it its own name, but it's just showing that it's a variable, so you can rename this if you like for your own shortcut. So you could say, I'm going to change this to how much did you like this week? Because it doesn't really match. It's going to bother me if I don't change it. And then this will be liked week or something like that. And then, oh, it has a space. It's really picky. But basically, you can see over here that it's a scale type of data, and basically, like, SPSS will not let you run different tests depending on what type of data you're using. So I couldn't compare and contrast someone's name to how much they liked this week because this is a nominal data set and this is a scale data set. So if you have like 20 different variables like this, you can use these different tests to do this. So basically, like, what you're going to be doing is, say you gave 10 people this survey. What you do is you'd come in and enter this data, and you would have like respondent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm only going to do 9 because that's easy. I'll do 10. And they hated their week. They were neutral. These guys were neutral. These people really liked their week. These people answered. Anyway, like, you can see, like, these are like the scale responses. So this is the name of the respondent. So I want these to be anonymous. So I don't know who said what, but basically, like, what we can do now is we can run a test to see like what is the average of people's responses for this. So we'll run a frequency table and we'll say, how much did you like your week? Statistics, we can see what the mean, median, and mode is. Standard deviation, continue. Let's just go ahead and run a bar chart because that will give us a good idea of like people's responses. And I'm just going to run frequency, which is just the numerical value rather than the percentage of respondents, and then hit OK. And then SPSS will give you this little output. It'll take a minute. But basically you can say, okay, I had 10 responses. The average response was 3.8, and on our scale of 5, 3.8 is pretty close to I liked my week. So you could say, a majority, average number of people were happy with their life. The standard deviation is how much variance you are away from the mean. So there's a total of 3, and we'll go into that in more detail later on. But it's not super important right now for descriptive statistics. It just shows you how much variance you've got going on. So SPSS has cranked out this chart that you can use. So 10% said that they're having a bad week, 1 out of 10. 3 out of 10 are having a neutral week, and like 40% really liked their week. So it just gives you a little bar chart to show where you're at and the number of responses, and you can see that this is skewed a little high, although that this neutral response is not showing up. You can see that nobody answered 2, because this is 1, 3, 4, and 5. So if you want, you can leave this so it says 0. But basically this is like something that you could then take, copy and paste into Word, and then use it to bolster your argument and your results. So that's just one of the things you guys can do with this, and play around with the different charts you can use and see what your means and modes and all those things are.